What's going on, guys? Wallace Conrad here. Welcome back to Awesome Football Channel. Blessing to you, blessing to your family as always. We are beaming with smiles as Arsenal fans today, especially because we have just won our game. Nottingham Forest was the team that we played and we smashed them 3-0. Before we get into the game, however, I want to say thank you to everyone who have subscribed. I really, really appreciate you. So thank you wholeheartedly for doing so. If you have not subscribed as yet, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Please go ahead and hit the like button. It does a lot for the efforts that I'm putting in here. Thank you so much. And Arsenal Football Club, please call me back. I have sent you my resume. Why haven't you called me back? That is all of our dreams to work with Arsenal Football Club. Um, that is not outside the realms of my dream either. That is actually true, by the way. But let's jump into the match. So, this match, I absolutely loved it. Some will say it is our best match that we have played thus far. And I could understand why they would say that because even if it was not, it was pretty close. This match, and while I'm watching the match and I'm making my notes, it just reminded me everything that I was writing on paper reminded me of the Arsenal team of 22-23. And if you remember, all I have been saying is I want to get back that Arsenal team from 22-23. That team was amazing when it comes on to putting on early pressure, when it comes on to being clinical. That team wasn't the best defensively compared to this team, but I wanted back the attacking impetus that that team had. And today, that was the feeling I got from this team. But let's jump into it. From a summarized perspective, we won the match 3-0. As I said, Nottingham Forest, there's only one chance that I can remember that they got, and it was a bit of a strange one, fluke off Chris Wood's chest, and David Raya made a fingertip save. Wonderful from David Raya, by the way, because he could have totally lost concentration, and that would have been a goal. But he made the save, and that was the only chance Nottingham Forest got. Right, only notable chance. Let's put it that way. Right. So, as I said, the game reminded me at our peak in 22-23, and that was a good sign given the attackers that we have, what we did in that year. Even though I don't want to dwell on it too much, but as an Arsenal fan, you should understand what I mean when I say it reminded me of 22-23. So the first thing that you notice was that Mikel Merino got the start, right? And he got that in this in place of Declan Rice, right? So Odegaard was playing in the right eight. Mikel Merino was playing in the left eight. I think this was absolutely acceptable because of the way Mikel Merino performed on his international break. And when you have a player that is playing with that high level of confidence, and pre-match day, I predicted that he will include Mikel Merino in the team, and he absolutely did that. For some reason, people said that it was strange that he left Declan Rice out, but I predicted that because as a coach, when you have players that are playing with this level of confidence, including them can only be a good thing. And I think that it was right that he was rewarded with that start. And he was impressive. What I like about Mikel Merino that I think is very underrated, it is his calmness on the ball. He's very composed on the ball, and sometimes when it is very frantic in the game and he gets the ball, it's like he knows exactly what he's going to do. He's not rushing it. He knows where the pass is going to go next, and that was the kind of game that he had today. Rice was rested. I think that is fair. That tells us about the depth in the squad that we have. And people who are saying that we are set piece FC, if that was the case, Declan Rice would not have been rested because he's our main set piece taker when it comes on to the corner kicks, and we did not start him, which I think was right. So Marino showcased his skills in midfield. I thought he did well. He could have scored. The first chance fell to him, and he could have slotted the Nottingham Forest keeper cells, but he went a bit high and he saved it. Right. So very good from Merino, and that was the setup. Merino was in, Rice was rested, and then one thing that I'm sure all Arsenal fan was looking out for was the left wing, and seeing Eze in that, I'm sure made every Arsenal fan very very happy. And to start the match, I think Eze was a bit out of it, but I think because we are so programmed to play down that right side, maybe that had something to do with it, or it was because Noni Madweki. I talk about my notes, and everywhere on that piece of paper that I make my notes with on match day, every other line was Noni Madueke. Noni Madueke is causing riot. Noni Madueke is very good at putting in first time balls. Noni Madueke has taken over the corner kick responsibility. This guy was all over the pitch. And I'm going to say this now. Noni Madueke. Listen, guys, let's finish the tactical setup and stuff like that. So that was the setup. Apart from that, Madwick came in on the right because Saka is injured, all that good stuff. Masquera came in for Saliba, and that was how the game was set up. Now, going back to my 22-23 comparison, it was a fast start. We started very quickly. We were so aggressive, right? We were just pressing them, and the tempo was high right out the blocks. That 22-23 team, that is what they did. It was a fast start, high pressing football, and we were a constant threat. Every time we get the ball going forward, it looks like we're going to cause problems. We're going to score a goal. And that is what I saw. Our attacking was relentless. We just kept going. We kept going. Once we lost the ball, we hunted and got the ball back. And once we got it, there was one thing on our mind: we are going to score this goal, all right? And not every time that will happen, but that was the kind of game that we had. We were all over Nottingham Forest, and they had no answers for it. As I said, Merino was impressive. His composure was one thing that I pointed out, and I think it was clear for all to see that he's a very, very confident midfielder at the moment. And I love that Mikel Arteta rewarded him. It is telling the rest of the team that if you do well in your international duties, in training, you will get rewarded for that. It doesn't matter what your name is. There is always someone there that can come in and play as good as you can or better, right? Not that that is the case with Mikel Merino using all of those variables, but some of that was true, and I'm glad to see that he was awarded the star. Now I want to talk about the standout players, right? And I touched on one who I think many people will say Martin Zubimendi should be the man of the match, and I understand that. Martin Zubimendi scored 2 goals. By the way, Zubimendi's first goal, that technique, and when you look back at it, many people got very excited about it, and I understand. It is the goal of the season, etc., etc. And I understand why they were so excited about it. It got a little deflection, but his technique was impeccable. I absolutely love this player. And I don't even think it was his best game, apart from those 2 goals. He was there controlling his tempo, but on his best days, he is even more crisp than that. But I think he had an absolutely amazing game, and he ended up scoring 2 goals. And I could put him as the star performer, but I am going to give that to Noni Madueke. And a lot of apologies need to be rolling in for Noni Madueke, including myself, because when we were linked to this player, I said, no way we're getting this player. I used to tease this guy, right? Not from a standpoint of being nasty or being a bully. Bullies should not be permitted in the social media space. Let's just get that out there. But I used to call this guy Bandana Man, right? Of course, he was playing for the opposite, yada yada yada. And one day, Noni Madueke had a game against Chelsea. I was watching the game, and I'm like, I need to get this guy in my FPL team because he is a hidden gem. But I didn't see that again from him after that game. I don't remember who they were playing against, but it could be that Noni Madueke always had this, but the inconsistency at Chelsea was what resulted him just not showing that as much. Hopefully, that is not the case at Arsenal, because this guy, I am telling you right now, Noni Madueke, he is not here to play games, guys. He is not. He was ripping the right wing. He was causing problems all game. He was just turning his defender inside out, driving into the box, putting crosses in. From Noni Madueke chances alone, we could have scored 5 goals if we had our attacking players in the right spaces. That's how dominant he was in the game. And that's why I would give him the star player of the match. He was his creativity, his spatial awareness, taking on his man, his defensive contribution. It was top notch for the entire game, right? So I would give him the star player of the match. I could have very well gave it to Martin Zubimendi because he scored 2 goals. First one, a banger, and the second one, of course, with his head, right? Which you saw him pointing to his head, like, "Yo, I just scored that with my head." I think Zubimendi is the shortest player on the pitch, and he scored that with his head. I could have also gave it to Jurian Timber. Timber was very good throughout that game. I absolutely love this defender. And I hear people making starting 11s and they're excluding Timber when we were doing starting 11. That's the thing that, as you all know, different opposition, engaging. And this guy is one of the best right backs in the league. No question asked. No question. He is strong. He's fast. He's defensively solid. And going forward, he's very good. This guy is a monster when it comes on to that right back position. Absolutely love him. Big Gabby was also solid all game. And I could have well called him out. I could have called out Mosquera. That is the kind of dominance that we showed throughout the game. Um, there were good performances all over the pitch, but I picked out these 4 players and I put them in the standout performance category with Noni Madueke. In my opinion, he was my man of the match, even though Zubimendi scored 2 goals. It's not always about the goals for me when I look at a match. And I just want to highlight, I saw this Instagram post, right? And this was from James AFC JXMES. I'm not sure who this guy is, to be fair. I'm not sure. Is it James, like the James? I'm not sure. But anyways, he said, "Why on earth did Chelsea sell Madueke to us?" And that gives you some insights on the kind of game that Madueke had. Madueke was so good today, right? And Nottingham Forest, they are no mugs. This is a good team, and that's why I was looking forward. I predicted a 2-0 win. We got a 3-0, so not far off, but I expected a good game. But we dominated the game even more than I thought. And then you have Zubimendi that I mentioned before with those 2 goals. Really nice to see. This guy reminds me so much of Santi Cazorla, man. Santi Cazorla was one of my favorite Spanish players. Absolutely love the guy. And this guy reminds me so much of Santi with his movement, with just finding space and being in the right place at the right time. Shout out to Zubimendi and Jurian Timber, one of my favorite defenders in the team right now. So I just want to shout out those guys, man. Very good games from them. Our set piece solutions, I wanted to touch on that because one of the things that we saw in our Liverpool game was Declan Rice taking the corners from the left side. That is not usually how we set up in our set plays. Saka is usually over there, right? But this time, Noni Madueke took on the set pieces from the left side, and he did very well. As I said on my notes paper, it was Noni Madueke's name all over it, right? And then Eze took the responsibility from the right side, and both of them looked so much better, so much more polished. And another thing with our set pieces was the header that Zubimendi scored. It came from a set piece. But what I loved about this was that the set piece was different. it was different. It wasn't no whip the ball in and then we will just overpower them and head it in the box. No, it was from the training ground, very intricate movements, and he played it to Trossard. You know how much I love Trossard, and Trossard just played a wonderful dink over to Zubimendi, shortest player on the pitch, and he just headed it in the goal. So amazing, amazing to see that in the set piece in our set pieces, right? Another thing that I was happy to see was our main man, Victor Gyökeres, scoring. If you notice, I haven't even called Victor Gyökeres' name as yet. But that was the kind of game that he had. He wasn't in the game a lot. Second half was much better than the first, just like Eze. But those two players in the second half, they combined to and it resulted in the Victor Gyökeres goal, right? Eze on the left, very early ball in. That's it's so refreshing to see. In the second half, the game just opened up and Eze started to play himself into the game, which I really loved. The first half he wasn't as good, and Victor Gyökeres score from that with that assist from Eze. Absolutely love it. New signings are doing their thing, man. Loved it. Um, that brings me to the new signing chemistry. I kind of touched on it there. Eze's vision is very good. He wasn't talking as much in the second half. I want to see him talking in, almost like Leo would do. Right? He's not a touchline winger, but he's cutting in. And in the second half, he started to doing that. Started to do that. Sorry, and he was finding a lot of space. Gyökeres is the man for the penalty box. He cannot be involved in the game. That is fine. I don't care about that. But when that chance shows up, be there to finish it. And that is what he did. Very clinical finishing from Gyökeres, very composed. That is what I want to see from my striker. Don't listen to the crowd. You know what I mean? And he is joint top scorer already with 3 goals. So shout out to Victor Gyökeres. Shout out to the new signing as a included. Well, all of the new signings. Now, concerns moving forward is that injury to the captain himself, Martin Odegaard. That shoulder injury looks like the same shoulder. Hopefully, it is as quick as the first one. And sometimes your shoulders can get dislocated very easily. And I'm wondering if that is what happened to him because it was a hard fall. It was a hard fall. Sorry, it's just a weird freak injury. You know what I mean? Because that was what got him out the last time, and the very same thing happened again, right? So that is something that we'll have to wait on, and see what happens. That's what the gaffer said after the game as well. The late game management, we were a little bit sloppy in the second in the closing minutes of the game. That is something that I want us to cut out completely. I want us to finish strong all the way until the 95th minute or whatever extra time is added on. That's how I want us to finish. So that is, and I'm being very picky here with picking out these negatives, but I think it is always good to look at our weaknesses so that we can go ahead and turn them into potential strengths, right? So those were the concerns that I see. So key takeaways, positive signs. 22-23 Arsenal is coming back. New signings are integrating well, very well. Marino was impressive after the international break. The set piece solutions looked good. I love that we're changing it up. And then we have the Odegaard injury and that lateness in terms of our concentration that I think we need to fix in terms of in the areas of concern. But all in all, guys, that was a very, very good game from the boys. I absolutely loved it. It was comfortable for us. So now we move on into the midweek game, which that is the Champions League game. I'll be doing some content covering that. I'm looking forward to see what happens. But that there and there is where I'm going to wrap it up. Very good game from the boys. Everyone played good, including the substitutions who came on. We were getting Martinelli and Leandro Trossard off the bench. That is how deep our squad is. Saka is not in the team. Um, Jesus is not in the team. William Saliba is not in the team. All of those because of injuries. Kai Havertz is not in the team, and the team still looks as strong. So hopefully this carries on. I think it will, because of the players that we have recruited. Let's move on to the midweek and get another W in the Champions League. This team, this team looks like it is going to be the team that brings us there. Shout out to everyone. And until next time, guys, stay safe. I cannot say that enough. Stay safe, guys. Protect yourself, protect your family. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I will see you soon.